What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Pastel Painting Friday. Today we are going to be painting a Rembrandt. The image you can see is on the top left is from Google Arts and Culture. Feel free to follow along and paint or draw with me. All you've got to do is go to Google Arts and Culture, and there are so many Rembrandt images that you can use to follow along with me. You don't necessarily need to work on the same painting that I'm doing here. So simple straight lines and angles. These are soft pastels, and I wanted to do this with these pastels because these are Rembrandt pastels. They're titled Rembrandt pastels. So it kind of made sense to do a Rembrandt study using Rembrandt pastels. It just kind of made sense to me. So hey, Uncle Earl, welcome, welcome. Kathy, welcome. Hello there, Mark L. May, Giselle, welcome, welcome. Oh, you're waiting. That's not good. That's not good at all. What's going on with my stream? Well, hopefully you're able to watch what I'm doing. Looks like there might have been, a delay in the stream. Good thing I worked a little bit slow. I didn't do too much. Let me know if you can see and hear everything on the stream. Hopefully you can see and hear everything on the stream. Let me know. Randy, welcome, welcome. Hey, David Rodriguez. Welcome, everybody. By the way, those of you that are wondering about Thursdays, they will remain for this week. It was different. I was invited to an art group that I really won't speak too much about anymore, but just know I'm not going back there. So, yeah. The schedule will remain the same as it's been. No changes thus far. Let's just say I won't be going back there. So we're blocking in the shapes, keeping things nice and simple. The angle for the eyes, shapes for the forehead. Chin. Okay, now we're going to start to mass in some shapes. Why does it say waiting? I don't understand. I clicked go live on my thing. I don't know what's going on. Thanks for letting me know you can see and hear everything, Mark, May, and Randy. I don't know what's going on with the internet. It could be the AIs. The AIs are onto us. The AI says, I can do a better Rembrandt than you. And I say, bring it. We're massing in the shapes. Hey, May. Thanks for those kind words, May and Giselle. Yeah, that group. Yeah. Let's just say we won't even mention them anymore. We will wipe that memory from our minds. It never happens. Never happened. But if you want to know what happened, it ended up not being a long pose. I walked in there and they were short poses. That's what happened. And thus, my conclusion of Northern Virginia is still the same, unchanged. But I'm really happy to do this, to be able to stream here with all of you here. To me, this is my own kind of version of creating a life drawing group or a portrait painting group. I will be driving to Baltimore tomorrow morning to paint with my artist friends from Maryland. Not good for my car or my budget, but you gotta do what you gotta do to paint from life. Those of you that live near a group where you can paint from life, you are so lucky. Super lucky. Hey, Tipu! Yep, this is all live. Welcome, welcome everyone. Excited to be doing this one. Of course, I was excited to do all of the paintings this week. But Rembrandt is a special study for anyone to do. It's for me, he's one of the top 5, my top 5 favorite painters of all time. And I think anyone that studies Rembrandt closely will find a lot of information that can be transferred over to life, painting from life, drawing from life. Rembrandt was definitely a painter's painter. Okay, so light and shadow, very important. Now, of course, as it is pastel, we will start to layer color pretty much right away. Hey, Janet. Of course, thanks for joining. Alright, let's start to mass in some colors. These colors are listed in the description box of the video for you. These are Rembrandt soft pastels. I like these soft pastels so much that when I went to paint with my artist friends in Baltimore last week, I didn't even bring my paints. I brought these pastels, and unfortunately, I dropped my pastel. I dropped my yellow ochre. Oh, I dropped my yellow ochre last week. And it's very important. You don't actually see it on camera, but I'm holding these pastels like this. So what happened was I had my pastels on a tray where you put your paintbrushes and stuff typically on an easel, and they just rolled off, landed on the ground, and some of you may have seen my slightly funny video that I posted on my Instagram shortly after with the Titanic song, and mourning the loss of my pastels, which wasn't that big of a loss because you can still use the small pieces, and I'll still use the small pieces, but I like the pastel to be longer like this as opposed to those like shorter pieces, so that I can hold the pastel as far back as possible. So that's really important to me. Now we're going to add some color to the skin tone. Yellow ochre is a really important color. for pastels. I mean, for portraiture, yellow ochre is probably the most important color. It has just so many uses. So again, any questions you have are totally fine. I appreciate any questions or comments that are YouTube friendly. And with pastel, it's all about layering. Mixing on the surface is what you do. Don't worry about any details. Think about the planes. Cross hatching. And the palette's pretty much the Zorn palette. I have a red, white, black, yellow ochre, but I do have a brown but it's kind of reddish, so you can consider it somewhat sort of red. See how we mix these colors? Hey May, oh thank you for the comment. Light and shadow is the most important thing. And then building from the light and shadow into the planes, which is what we're doing now. Then of course you want to add some sprinkles of color. So that's what we're doing now. Oh, and here's what I can use that broken piece for. It lives on, everybody. My broken pastel lives on. We can mask with it. See that? Pretty cool. Although I don't necessarily like having to pinch the pastel like that. Hey Janet, the palette, this is yellow ochre, black and white. I have a reddish brown, and then I have this red here. This is the reddish brown. I actually forgot what the color is called, but there is a number associated to it. I couldn't find it at the store, so I'm really glad that I didn't drop this. It's a really important color. It's linked in the description box. I've got an Amazon link. But I suppose it's something like a burnt sienna, because it is not as dark as burnt umber. It's not as cold as raw umber. So it's got to be something like a burnt sienna. But it's not burnt sienna. Good old Rembrandt. And if anyone's here for the first time, definitely let me know. Or if anyone has been here for the entire 5 weeks that we've been doing this now. This is the 5th week. Hopefully, anyone watching this in the future, this is years afterwards, and we're still doing this. Of course, I'll be introducing other materials in the future. No spoilers. The only problem with using the pastel like this is my fingers sometimes touches the paper, and that's not a good thing. You don't want to deposit the oils from your finger onto your soft pastels. That's a no-no. You may usually draw with burnt sienna in your acrylics. It's a good color to draw with. Definitely. There's a lot of useful applications to it. You know, I gotta say, looking at this Rembrandt, the painting of it, the original, it looks almost like he could have done it in pastel. I mean, there's some red marks there that look like they could have been pastel. But we know he used oil paint. I know it's early on, but are there any suggestions for what you want me to do next week? If you have anything in mind that you want me to paint, that we can paint here on YouTube, let me know. I kind of chose this one, the Rembrandt, but I'm open to suggestions. For example, the Caravaggio that we did yesterday was a suggestion from a viewer. So yeah, I'm holding these like this. You can't see it on camera, but that's how I'm switching back and forth between my pastels. And that's what I should have done last week when I was painting at the group, but I put them on the easel and they rolled off. So maybe you wrote a Degas given it's pastel. That's an idea. I mean, looking into other painters that used pastels is a good idea also. I like the idea. I think we said Bouguereau for acrylic. So I can look at other pastel artists, including Degas for pastel. Yeah, Degas is a little less realistic, but we can check that out. Hey, Jeanette. Oh, thank you. I really like these pastels. I've been really happy to use them. It's a really active way to paint. You get to feel out the entire process, literally, as pastel meets the paper. Mary Cassatt. Yeah, we can look at Mary Cassatt for another pastel. It's not a bad idea. Check out Mary Cassatt. So this little broken piece is actually kind of useful. To mask that way. Hey Bernadita, okay. Thank you for that comment. You said you'd like to see Degas as well as Cezanne. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. Bernadita, shout out to you. Bernadita Lopez. Thank you for joining the stream. You're welcome anytime. So we do these every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. So we started about 24 minutes ago. Yeah, pastel is a really fun material to use. And I'm telling you, yellow ochre is probably the most important color to me personally when I'm working with pastel. So we're putting in black and then this umberish color or burnt sienna-like color. Again, I don't remember the name of it, but it's linked in the description box for you. It has the number associated with the pastel. Mark L, you wrote, suggest Renoir for pastels. Okay. Pretty cool. We're getting into, well, I mean, I guess pastel would be a pretty modern kind of material. Okay, yeah, I'll look into each of them. Degas, Mary Cassatt, Renoir. I'm assuming they must have used soft pastels. I don't know. I have been tinkering around with oil pastels as well, but they take a little bit longer to layer. And layering for me is really important for this type of video. These are really, yeah, I'm gonna keep saying this, but they are really fun to work with. I hate that they break so easily. Like I said, I accidentally dropped my yellow ochre and the green. The green is even more shattered than the yellow ochre, so I can barely use it. I mean, there's a big piece of it, there's two big pieces of it that I can use. But to be honest, I really don't use the green that much. So again, anyone that may be new here, schedule is Wednesday for oil paint, Thursday for acrylic, and Friday for pastel. And 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time will not change. I did earlier this week on Thursday. I did an earlier stream because I was invited to a painting group that I thought would be long poses, as I was asking for long poses. And turns out they don't do long poses. By long pose, I meant one pose. Not splitting it up into 10-minute, 5-minute. Sure, it's important to do short poses as well, but when you're trying to do portraiture, it's a different story. Anyway, enough about that. I really don't want to mention that. What happened? Even Rembrandt looked like he didn't like my story. He started to pout. Rembrandt says, cheer up. There we go. Give him a slight artist smile. So I say, all right, I'll give you a slight smile. This, by the way, is an art smile. And remember, once it starts to look human, which it's almost looking human, that's when the awkward stage happens. And the awkward stage is what makes portraiture so difficult. Psychological. Hey, Mark L. Yeah, go for them. Yeah, definitely try them out. They're a lot of fun. Let me tell you something. I didn't use pastels for years. Only when someone suggested it on one of my live streams, I was like, all right, let's give it a try. First, I bought kind of like some cheaper oil pastels. titled Expressionists. They weren't really that good. And then I decided to get these Rembrandt soft pastels, and I tried them out in the store just on a piece of paper before buying them. I only bought a certain number of colors, and I think I'm only really going to use these colors. Before adding any other colors, I want to, get as much experience as I can with just these limited colors. So it doesn't break the bank that much because pastel sets can cost a lot of money. Now I did buy the higher quality oil pastels over the week, and I have been tinkering around with them as well. Whereas these are kind of like, almost like charcoal. Yep, so in case you can't hear me, I don't know if you can hear me, I'm waving my hand or see me. The internet shut off. Much, and no one is there. So let me know if you can see and hear everything all right. Again, internet, nothing I can do. This area, I really hate this area. I hate this place. But oh well, I'm glad to be able to be here with all of you. Computer, my streaming software, it's warning me about the internet. Oh good, at least you can hear me. Still working really slow right now. Just in case you can't see or hear anything. So let's see. Oh, thanks. Yep, now everybody left.